Think about this. Where did you learn about money? Who specifically taught you about it? And do you have a money philosophy? And I realized that what I thought I could do, which was work harder, work longer, do more. And if I just show up and do my best, that eventually things would work out. Eventually I'd have enough money to take care of things. There's been a massive decimation of the middle class by the banks, by the government, by Wall Street, but no one's paying attention. Why? Because our human nature, our psychology.
Hey everybody, Chris Naugle here. Welcome back to another episode of the Money School Podcast, the podcast where we teach you how to take back control of your money and how to be the bank. But today's conversation is all about your mindset, the journey, and what it takes to break free from traditional financial systems and what we've been taught about money. Today, Stephen Nagy sits down with another one of our money mentors, Mr. Jason Sipple, to talk about how they got to where they're at today, both in business and in life. They're going to be diving deep into the power of financial education, the lessons learned, and the mindset shifts that make the difference. This is one of those episodes that you're going to get thinking and, more importantly, you're going to take action. Let's dive in.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another podcast edition of the Money School Podcast. My name's Stephen Nagy. I'll be hosting the show today on behalf of Chris Naugle. Real quick, met Chris Naugle in 2019, became partners with him in the BYOB Money School, partners in the Money Multiplier, co-founded Private Money Club, and have been in the financial education space since 2008 when I left my career as a personal financial advisor, focusing on primarily real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and business. And really looking forward to today's podcast. We have a really cool guest on today, Jason Sipple, who's one of our star money mentors, works with a lot of our clients and students, very forward facing, and talks about infinite banking, controlling wealth, positive mindset, has years and years of experience in this world, and came from the corporate world, which is a really cool dynamic because he's able to kind of share some of his experience. A lot of people go through the corporate world and really working a lot and burnout and everything else. And we'll get into some of that stuff today. So really looking forward to this. I think a lot of you listening and watching right now are going to be relatable to Jason's story. And, if things sound good, you guys can connect and kind of go from there with it all. But with that being said, Jason, thanks for being on the podcast. It's your first time being on Money School Podcast. It's my second time hosting Money School Podcast. So we're going to have some fun today. Hopefully we can keep it to the level that Mr. Chris Naugle does, because I know Chris Naugle is the man, but we're going to have some fun here today and get us some good talk. So thanks for coming. What's up, Jason?
What's up, Mr. Snaggy? That was quite the introduction, man. I learned a lot of history about you just then. That's impressive, the things that you've done, the path that you've taken. And I think it all started with a decision. Why? I'm just curious. I know I'm not the host. I'm the guest here, but why did you move away in 2008 from financial services? What was it that you saw that you moved away from?
Hey, I'm the host today technically, but I'm a guest host, so we can kind of host each other. How about that? Because I know you do a lot of your own webinars and podcasts and whatnot also, so I'm sure you're used to that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's I used to tell people that I got into becoming a financial advisor because I wanted to help people with money and change things. That kind of came from a interesting childhood. I'm not going to get into all of it right now, but as divorced, divorced parents, have a little brother and sister, and I went through a unique situation where one of my parents, very, very, very wealthy, lots of money, lots of crazy trips. Another parent struggled raising us, food stamps, and just never really had anything financially. And I would go from one side to the other, and I really saw kind of the financial struggle versus just the different financial struggle of having millions and millions of dollars and what that looks like. And at a young age, it kind of made me realize the importance of not only money but also money isn't everything, because of some of the stuff that happened. And that's not what this is about today. Maybe I'll share that story in depth one day. But
Man, it sounds like we could do a whole separate. Stephen, will you bring me back and I will host you on one of these where we can dive into that, because there's so much there I want to unpack with you. And it shows, to me, it shows a ton of courage and leadership on your part, because I know a little bit more of your story. I didn't know you were the big brother. Like the way that you are so loose and carefree and different things, like you're a lot of fun to be around, dude. Like that's what I see you, like the fun Meister Stephen Nagy. But when you're sharing that childhood, the life of chaos, that makes you the perfect build to be an entrepreneur, to build things, to go out and create, because you thrive in that chaos. You thrive in the ability to really handle difficult situations and find the best in them. And the fact that you got to see both sides, I don't think a lot of people can say, hey, I got to see someone being a millionaire and then, my other parents struggling and we're on food stamps and we're barely surviving. And I understand the importance of being able to help people take back control. Like that's what I'm hearing you tell me.
Yeah. We'll dive into that one day when I'm ready to share a little bit more. But it's definitely an interesting story and very unique. But I believe that everything happens in life for a reason. I believe that we can create our own future, and I believe it all starts with just making decisions in life that are smart and building upon those, compounding those, and growing from whatever happens in life. I mean, you asked, kind of how I went on that entrepreneurial journey and left my career as a financial advisor. And it wasn't an easy decision to make by any means, Jason. I mean, it was a lot of hard work to go get licensed, a Series 7 license, 66, 215 variable annuity, some of the certifications, go through the entire interview process to be hired by a firm like Ameriprise Financial. And so, a lot of training hours, a lot of 65, 70-hour weeks in the office, getting established in my first year, and decided to leave all that to pursue a life of entrepreneurship. And it all started for me attending a free seminar, believe it or not. So I was invited to a seminar. I went with my cousin, um, Brent, who I still do business with to this day. But we attended a seminar. We sat in the chairs and listened to a speaker talk about real estate investing and talk about entrepreneurship and everything else. And it resonated with me, it connected with me, because as a financial advisor, my job is to sit down with clients and kind of build up their dream, right, Jason? Like, what is the future look like? What does retirement look like for you? How do you want to, what do you want your children to be able to have? Do you want to be able to travel? What age do you want to retire? The really built up dream. And then essentially my job as an advisor was to then tear that dream apart, because in reality
I've never
hits.
heard it said like that, man. That's
Well, I
cool.
mean, it's reality happens in life where, hey, you think you're putting enough money away, you think you're doing everything right for retirement. When you actually run the numbers, man, you either got to push retirement way back, you got to drastically change what retirement looks like for you at that time, or you need to take on a lot more risk today to be able to build to that level, or drastically change your lifestyle today down to almost nothing so you can save more, invest more to grow more wealth for the future. And it ends up never working out because how many people thought they were on a great path, thought they were going to do awesome in 2005, 2006, 2007, getting ready to retire. The Great Depression hits in 08, 40% of their 401k just drops almost overnight, and all of a sudden they're having to go back to work. And they did everything in life right to get to that point. It's nothing to do, nothing they had done. So it's so common, it happens to so many people. And that's what I felt like I was doing as an advisor. And not to mention, I was in my early 20s at the time. And, I was advising people how to live their lives, but I had no experience myself. I had never been through
Mm.
things, And so, when I sat there in that chair and I learned about and heard this guy talking about real estate, I was like, I can do that. Like, and the other thing that I kind of had in my back of my mind, a little Tweety Bird talking to me, was the high net worth clients that I did have in my financial planning practice. Guess what they all had in common? They all either owned a lot of real estate, or they're somehow active in real estate, and most of them had businesses. They were a business owner or part owners of businesses. And so I saw those two things come together, and I was like, I can go out there and do that. This is the path. Like, I don't want to struggle and try and do the traditional. I want to do my own thing. So I made a decision to go do that. I had an opportunity to go travel, and that was, at this point, that was back in 2000. I mean, it's 15, 16, 17, 18 years later. So it's been a really fun journey. And Jason, I'm sure you can relate to this. It's not always roses and easy. There's been failures along the road. I've had to go back and get jobs to survive, but you always keep moving, you keep pushing, you keep following your dream, and eventually things happen. And that's where we're sitting today. So I don't know if that answers your
That's a
question.
beautiful journey. I'm looking forward to, like I said, I hope and I look forward to the day that you're ready to share more fully on this. I think I think your story serves a lot of people. A lot of people are gonna resonate with what you just shared with me, going from corporate America, understanding that, look, the people I'm helping, and this is part of my story, so we'll reverse roles here in a moment. But part of my story was that it was like looking like, wait a minute, I'm really good at supporting other people reach their dreams, reach their vision, seeing them get what they want. And then here I am still struggling. And then when I started asking myself, why am I struggling? Like, I have skills. Doing what my parents told me, show up first, leave less, work hard, be humble, add value, be polite, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you. And it doesn't lead to financial freedom if you don't understand the game that we're playing. And that's what I hear, like your journey. Like you got to see both sides of things growing up. You got to go in and start seeing people that had real life wealth. And where were they getting their wealth? You just shared with us. They had businesses where they were out creating, they were building for other people, solving problems, and then they were keeping a lot of it or creating money. Like there's only two ways that money works. It's either, or two ways you earn. It's man makes money or money makes money.
And one of the things that I want to get into here, as we talk here today is, kind of how you've gotten to where you are and what that experience, because, as you know, Jason, a lot of my time these days is spent
Mm,
working with our money mentors, working with new agents, managing our agency when it comes to the infinite banking concept and what we do with these specially designed whole life insurance policies. And I have, I don't know, anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 10 people reach out to me a week, very commonly, that want to come work with us, want to be agents with us, want to be salespeople with us, essentially. And I have a sales background. I understand sales, but one of the challenges that we have with finding people like yourself, Jason, the podcast right before this one was with another one of our money mentors, Brian Fouts. But something very unique when it comes to what we do as money mentors, especially with the infinite banking concept, is I can't just teach somebody sales scripts and objections and how to
mm,
kind of do this for clients. And this is very unique because there's not many strategies or products out there you can't do that with. Like I can almost take anybody and turn them into like a real estate investment coach, for example. Or I could take anybody and turn them into an actual insurance agent, like a salesperson. But when it comes to the infinite banking concept, it's very different because we have all different walks of life that come to us wanting to start banking systems. We have people that have so many different situations, different backgrounds, different goals. And the money mentors that succeed and do a very, very good job, like yourself, are those that have it all. And what I mean by that is they've done it themselves. They're actively practicing, they're actively doing what we teach. And they come from a background where they understand how different people think and what it takes to make people successful. And so, it's when I meet somebody like you, Jason, you decide to come work with our team and be a money mentor, it makes it so much easier for me because you can go out there and create. You can go out there and do things that maybe just a salesperson or somebody that doesn't have the right mindset can do. And so, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because you came from managing teams, right? And was it sales teams or what did that look like?
No, I've done a lot of things. If your kids like Pokemon, if you're listening, you're a dad, a mom listening to this, my youngest loves Pokemon and he looks at me and is like, Dad, as an artist, you were pretty basic. And then you were recruiting, maybe you went to stage one. And then the last thing I did before I discovered I wanted to be an entrepreneur, like I wanted to go create, was I was hired as a director of recruitment for an equity-backed special education related services company. Great company. It's called the Stepping Stones Group. And when they hired me, a guy that used to be my peer and a friend, and I looked at him as a mentor, and another role, another position that I was at previously, where I was just a producer, said, "Hey, Sipple, like, what do you want to build? Like, what do you need? What do you want to do? I want to help you get there." And I said, "Well, I want to build teams. I want to build a team. I want to go solve problems. I want to go take everything I've learned over the last decade and implement it." And so he gave me the opportunity. It was just an idea. It's like, well, what if we did special education related services staffing, which means school-based staffing, pretty unique, you know, area to help them find more speech therapists, more occupational therapists, more school psych, special education teachers. And he tasked me, Sip, I want you to create a travel division like they have for nurse staffing, for therapy staffing, I said, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. And so when I started, like you talked about pivoting and moving forward no matter what, he's like, I want you to go and find travel SLPs, travel OTs. And what I was finding is that you couldn't find enough candidates to fill the job. And when you did, they weren't the right match. So we had to think differently, which is a lot of what IBC is about. We had to think, okay, well, if this isn't working, what if we took a special education teacher from here and you get all these tax advantages when you're doing travel assignments? So what if we move them from here to there? And so over time, the first year I went in 9 months, Snaggy, like all I was doing, I was producing. I was going and proving that this model could work
Mhm.
and we could continue building it. So we went from zero, nobody working for us, to around 26 people, which translates to about a $2.6 million business in year one. And so then year two, I hired someone. I trained them to do everything I did, but they went and focused on something else. I kept focusing on teachers, started doing school psychs, and so then hired someone. Then she trained the next person. And soon I was managing a team of 11 people, six of them internal, five external, managing a team of over 300 people. So we built it from zero to 25 million in 3.5 years. Got to do all the stuff you do as an entrepreneur with none of the risk.
Yeah.
Because when I needed office, when I needed to hire someone, when I needed like another Sam or a sales manager or someone to help with licensing, I could just go say, "Hey, help me do this." I don't want to do this. I'm just focused on recruiting and leading a recruiting team. But what I found when we got there, it was really cool. We had like the coolest office, one of the places where they make breakfast for you every day. They have awesome, you're in this workspace, and it was just a really, really cool experience. I had to meet all these cool entrepreneurs, and I was really excited. I was really happy about the job. I actually wore some of my recruitment clothes to the think tank, and you're like, "Hey, Sip, you look sharp. I've never seen you dress up like this." I'm like, "Yeah, I took out the director clothes, and we had built the company. When I joined, it was $30 million. It was two companies. By the time I exited, it was $600 million. Do you know how much equity I had in that company, Steven?
I'm gonna guess zero. Yeah.
Zero. And so, like at the end of 2019, I'm just sharing how I broke free from corporate America, what I was doing before. So, the end of, I think it was, yeah, end of 2019, right before COVID, the pandemic, I went to my first Tony Robbins event. This guy came in, he resonated with me on just a deep level because he had built things in recruitment before. And now he's a Tony Robbins trainer. He comes into this shared office space. He does this wheel of life thing, and I'm all in. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this is cool. I want to learn more. So I bought a ticket. I went down there. I came back, and I told my wife, like, put it this way, I left. I hated EDM music. Like I hated it. I just like rock and roll, jazz. Like I did not like that kind of music. It just bothered my brain. I go to a Tony Robbins event. I get all hijacked. I have some really deep breakthroughs. I drive back all fired up, listening to all the music we heard. Like I was programmed. I liked EDM at this point. Patty and I slept in different bedrooms for the first 4 months I came back. She's like, "What's wrong with you? Who are you? What are you, Captain America?"
Hmm.
And I told her, "Babe, I love you. Me and more, I love you, but I'm done with corporate America. I'm going to walk away from a $180,000 job. I'm going to start a peak performance coaching company because I've always mentored people. I've always been put in leadership roles, but I've never taken it seriously. I'm halfway through my MBA in leadership. I'm going to quit because that's for my ego. I don't want to climb a corporate ladder. I'm not a corporate dude. I do not like people telling me what to do. I do not like politics. I do not like bureaucracy. It was not a good fit for me." And so I'll pause there for a second, but that's where like I walked away, I started coaching people, and then I went and found a mentor and I did the same thing again where I helped them scale during the pandemic from 0 to 4 million the first year. I started as a client. A little while later, I ended up as part of the executive coaching team. And I was like, and that's when I had my breakdown slash breakthrough before I asked about this and ended up here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so you have a lot of the qualities and traits, it sounds like, that makes an entrepreneur, some of the drive of, not wanting to be in that corporate world and have the boss and things like that. So when you were building and creating, the team and going from 2 million to, what would you say, 100 million? What was it?
That was two to two and a, yeah, 2.6 to 25 million in 3.5 years. And the company went from 30 to 600. So I've seen craziness. Like as we're building this mission, like think of that. I saw 12 mergers and acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
plus a ton of organic growth and what that looked like. And it's crazy. Like you think it'd be all organized, but it was run, a $600 million company was run off of a Excel sheet, a Google sheet, and pivot sheets.
Yeah. Yeah, that brings up a whole nother discussion actually when it comes to business and how they are run and how many people are really building businesses, basically like, building the wings as the plane's taking off. But whole
Yes.
different discussion. But back to your experience with that. So did you realize at that point, like, is that what started making you like, hey, I don't like having the boss? Was it but you enjoyed the building and creating and that side of things, and that's what made you say, F the corporate world? Or was it gradual? Was it all at once? Like what made you kind of feel like that? Or when was that like, I guess, when was that moment of, all right, I'm done? Like you said, you came home. Was it the Tony Robbins, or what led up to that, I
Yeah,
guess?
the Tony Robbins event, the Unleash the Power Within down in Miami, down at the Heat, down towards you, right down the Heat's arena. It was like 15,000 people.
Yeah.
It was wild, and it showed me something. I came back. I thought when I left there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bring this business, this health business called OsteoStrong. I'm gonna open a franchise, and so I started telling Patty that's what I was gonna do. This is before I opened my coaching business, right? Like I went and became a Tony Robbins certified coach, launched my coaching business. I'm leaving some of the details out, but I went and there was this company called OsteoStrong. It's a wild concept, but a lot of women as they age, they suffer osteoporosis, osteopenia. Our bones get weaker, but there's a way you can load the bones to make them stronger. It's super interesting technology, not that complicated.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, I would love doing this. I love helping people. I almost went to school to be a physical therapist. I just realized that was a lateral move before I went into recruiting. And when I when I called the guy who ran the Southeast franchise, he's like, "Oh, you got to meet this guy. He just bought the license for three of these, OsteoStrongs in Orlando, and he's opened the first one, Lake Mary." And so I went out and I talked to this guy. When I met him, it was like the first time I met Joe K on our team. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, here's another brother that I have that I didn't even know I have." I was like, "This guy's name, he's like 6'5". His name's Brian Reppel." And the guy introduces like sip, meet, rep, meet, sip, rep, sip, rep. And I'm like, oh, and I started talking to the guy about like his path on personal, development and his journey and where his mindset was and how, because he's a fiduciary with 40 wealth management offices, and here he is opening an OsteoStrong, getting like I was there when the equipment was delivered, while he's putting up signage, and I got to know him, and then I realized, well, I don't think I'm going to open an OsteoStrong. It's a big investment, a lot of things to build, and it's not really proven as far as the marketing and like they're building the ship, like you said, as it's flying. Even though there's 100+ locations, internationally. I was like, nah, and Patty was like, nah, I'm not in with you. If you want to do that, cool. I'm gonna stay over here working. You do that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really that passionate about it. I just don't want to do what I'm doing. So what do I do?
Right.
And so I went into coaching. And how I ended up here, I think that's your bigger
What were you
question.
coaching real fast? What kind of coaching was it that you got into? Was it
Peak performance coaching, like Tony Robbins based
so mostly
mindset coaching.
mindset stuff, or
When I started, it was mindset. It was helping people break through whatever pattern they had, recognize their patterns, recognize like our human needs, and be able to step through those to get what they wanted in life.
right? Okay.
It was to help them recognize their patterns. Just service of someone else. It's really helping them have a reflection of themselves and then giving them the tools to break free. So I was coaching a VP from a bank who I knew personally from the recruitment world. I was coaching one of my super close friends who I've raced with an Ironman, who he's the CIO of USF, and like manages a 400 million dollar grant. Guys, I call him Dr. Fast, Dr. Kenny. And I was helping him like work with his boss. Like it was all these different things. One guy was scaling multiple companies,
Right.
and it was awesome. Like that was actually, they were moving forward. It was breaking through. But I was like, at that point I was 46, 45. And I was like, if I'm going to be great at this, like I don't want to do anything half-assed, Steve.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, if I'm going to be great, then I need a mentor who's been there, done it, and scaled it. And so then I found someone I thought was that mentor. I paid the price of a small car
Yeah.
and joined and started learning this other model. And I started coaching in that model. And what I kept finding in a lot of the coaching was like I had 15 clients. I was running all these different webinars for them and building this shared space. And it was an awesome, awesome thing. So we focused on not only the influence going from hello to yes with integrity,
Mhm.
right? A model of language communication. We also focused on the process mastery, which is sales and marketing to build, but then your personal mastery, which is your ability to do the things you need to do to get there. And what I found is most people I was coaching did not have any self mastery, personal mastery. Like every week they'll tell me, I want this thing, I want this freedom, I want this, and then come back and be like, my dog ate my whatever. My
Yeah.
dog got loose and I was whatever it was like that was like a real story from a doctor. Oh, I was gonna do it, but then my dog got sick and I took it to the vet and this and this and this and this and this. I was like, okay, but that was 3 weeks ago. And we talk every week. And I started getting frustrated because I had one guy out of 15 clients that was actually moving towards his goal and getting results. And it was never because of what I did. I'm either like, I suck at coaching or people really don't care enough to move forward.
Yeah.
And so then I found myself building this other team and I was living away from home a lot. Like I was staying in New Jersey at Long Beach Island, working with a team, doing different fundraisers. Like we raised 2 mil or little under $1 million in 6 weeks for the American Foundation for the Blind. Did this big event in New York City. Had like Roger Clemens there, Lawrence Taylor, like the who's who of the 80s and 90s Giants and Mets. And the guy who built the choppers for Orange County Choppers, like he had his choppers there. Like we had all these people show up in a 6 week period. I got to sit at a table with Bruce Smith from the Bills, and he thought I was an attorney because I looked like an attorney, I guess, that night. Lawrence Taylor was wild. Like someone had to manage him. That guy he was crazy. Like he was really interesting.
That's awesome.
So I got to be around all these cool things. But and then I went to a mastermind, and my stepmom died like the day before. And so I worked till like 3 in the morning, drove to South Jersey, slept a couple hours, got up, started helping run the mastermind that was after the event, and I just saw stuff that I was like, this isn't what I want. Like this is not helping me move any closer to giving my family what they need and I want to be able to give them. And then so I questioned in the back of my mind, like, is this really what I want? Like I love the community. It's kind of like our community, like BYOB, like everyone's trying to help each other. We're trying to serve, but I just felt lost, man. I felt really, really lost. Like I didn't know what I was going to be when I grew up. And I'm almost at that point, 46.
Yeah.
And then we go to another event, and Brian, who I mentioned, was up there, and his girlfriend, who's a rock star, multi-million at that time, multi-millionaire, attorney with 100+ doors, rentals, come and I'm there as one of the leaders, one of the coaches, and helping. And we're doing this exercise. I talk about this a lot on Take Back Control Tuesday. But I'm in the back of the room, and the leader's leading, and he's like, "What do you want when what do you want a year from now? How much money have you created? Who have you become? Who are you with? What are you doing? What do you want in your life?" And he's like, did you make $1 million, 10 million, 100 million? Like, what are your dreams, your goals? And I broke down and started crying. I still get emotional. I literally standing there before I had to wear glasses, and I just started crying.
Yeah.
And I looked around and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm failing my family. I'm failing. And I really was going, like, peeling the onion back. Like, what were my patterns growing up? What were the things that were holding me back? What were my beliefs around money? And I went and asked my friend for a philosophy. Like, I finally realized I need help. And so he had been teaching me some financial principles. He had been teaching me about infinite banking when I didn't even know it was called infinite banking.
Okay.
Real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action like so many others have by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
You have all the pieces together there. You have the mindset, the hustle, the discipline, the entrepreneurial mindset, all of that. I mean, your discipline, I know, comes a lot from your Ironmans and everything that you do with your cold plunges and all that, which we didn't get into. But so you had all that, but I was going to ask, like, where does the money side come into it? Like, where did that flip happen? And so I guess you're getting into that now. It's interesting.
Yeah. The flip came, I just got done doing a webinar on this, right? Where I talked about really rethinking our thinking. Like that was a whole theme of it.
Mhm.
And what I realized is I had been groomed by unknowingly almost, right? I never had a financial education. Like everybody that's listening, think about this. Where did you learn about money? Like who taught you about, who specifically taught you about it? And do you have a money philosophy? Like did someone give you a philosophy or do you have your own philosophy? Like you, man, like I know your philosophy is I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be loose. I'm going to show up. I'm going to make sure that everyone feels good about things, right? Like that's Stephen Nagy.
That's right.
Like I am going to be the intermediary that helps everyone have a good time because life's too short and I'm not going to worry about the things I can't control. Right? So you have a philosophy on who you are as a man, who you are as a leader, who you are as a dad, as a father. I had all those things around my physicality, around my spirituality, around being a dad, being a husband, but I didn't have one around money. And I realized that what I thought I could do, which was work harder, work longer, do more. I had side hustles, like all these paintings I have. Like I used to have my work in galleries in New Orleans and other places, right?
Wow.
Because on the weekends I would paint. I would go and paint every week. And that's how I met Patty. And so I was working full time as a recruiter, building teams and desks and things and helping people. And on the side, I was painting and putting money out there. And I just didn't, I always felt like I wasn't, there was a bunch of value things there, but I felt like I wasn't, like I didn't deserve more. Like I should just be happy for what I have. And if I just show up and do my best, that eventually things would work out. Eventually I'd have enough money to take care of things. And I always made decent money. Like once I left being an artist, I was making six figures, for 12 plus years, which to my family was a ton of money. So depending on who you are, where you're listening, that might be a lot to you. It might be very little to you. To me, it was a lot. It was more than anyone in my family.
Yeah.
But I needed a philosophy. So I asked for help, and Brian handed me this book,
Okay.
which I know you love reading this. I mean, you read this almost more than anyone I know. I'm just
Yeah.
teasing you.
It's got some good
But
stuff in it.
yes. But I read the book and I really thought the thought, if this was true, every single American would do this. And I got a little pissed off. I was upset. I was like, why didn't I know about this before? That was a Tuesday night. I probably finished at like 10:30 at night because I remember someone from the think tank talking about like, hey, don't read it late at night. I don't want you, blowing me up in the middle of the night when you get done with it. I,
Yeah.
I read it the next day. And that guy actually had been to the original think tank, that guy, Mike, with Brian, who I'm talking about. This is how it all comes full circle. And so then I read it, I called Brian up and I said, bro, I've known you for like almost 2 years. We've been doing coaching together. We've traveled together. Like we're close friends. Like we do a lot together. What the F? Why didn't you tell me about this? And he's like, Sip, you weren't ready.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Like, and this is all I want to do. Once I knew about this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to not only do this and apply it to my life, but as soon as I know how to do it, I'm going to start teaching other people how to do it. Because if this, just a one thought, if this is true, every American would do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that thought actually drives a lot of my actions today. Like it drove my actions, that conversation that you and I had with David Stearns, right? That leads the Nelson Nash Institute. When you were standing there talking to me, like I thought it was a little bit bold. I don't know if it was inappropriate, but I was literally, okay, we've got 300 people in this room. How do we hit the 10%? Like, how do we get 10% of America involved in this till we get to the tipping point that Malcolm Gladwell talks about? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah. And you know, why don't more people, like, what do you think stops somebody from either being willing to look at the infinite banking concept, or what do you think stops them from applying it in their own lives? What do you think that is? 'Cause I
Man,
think
if we
about
got
that all the
this,
time. I don't know.
I
It's
do too. If me and you have this figured out, let's co-author a book and then we'll just go on tour together and we will solve everybody's problems. That's kind of the goal that we have together anyhow, but I'm being a little bit
yeah.
like that's all I think about, man. I go to bed thinking about conversations. I know it's thinking. Like I talked to a friend of mine earlier that puts about 50,000 into qualified government created plans, whether it's HSA, backdoor Roth, 401k. And he's like, I can't put anything into this. I can't have another bill. So obviously his thinking is that this is a bill, not a system, not a process. And then I talked to someone who's delivering for DoorDash, used to be a math teacher and, practicing velocity banking, but he's saving $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And he's like, I read Nelson's book the other day. I'm gonna read it again. I know that this works. I know that I can do this. I've already learned that velocity banking works, and it was supported by Christy and Chris. Why wouldn't I do this?
Mhm.
So like, think of that difference. We got one guy making hundreds and hundreds of thousand, one guy making 50,000, and the guy making 50,000's mindset is ready for this, where the other one is not even close.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason, when I first started getting involved in real estate investing and on the education side, I had a mentor who owned a lot of real estate and a lot of investment properties. And, he would say, Stephen, here's what you don't understand. You can make a lot of money in this world, but those people, even if you make lots and lots of money, there's a lot of people that are gonna be like lots and lots of money that are still gonna be broke. And they're gonna, as they make more money, their lifestyle is gonna increase. They're gonna spend more money. They're gonna look back. I mean, we see it with professional athletes all the time. And so he would show me some of his real estate properties, and he'd be like, guess who my tenant is in this property? It'd be a nice, several $1,000s a month, which back then was a lot. Now $1,000 a month is like a typical little single family home. But nonetheless, he would say talk about these properties and people renting them 5, 6, $10,000 a month in rents, and it'd be like, this is a doctor, this is a lawyer, this, very intelligent people, very specialized. But so for me, like like you said, I don't think it has to do with where somebody comes from, how much money they're making. It's just they have to be open to something different and something new, and have the ability to do that in their minds, because you take a
It is. It's
doctor.
it's it's that. It's our
Yeah,
psychology. Everything, if you look, like if you were asking me, if you really want to know my true answer, and I think you do, and I'm sorry I interrupted, but like the
yeah,
true
go ahead.
answer is think about any murder mystery you've watched. Think about any mystery you've ever watched. It always ends up being what? It's always about the money.
Yeah.
And there's been a massive money heist. There's been a massive, decimation of the middle class by the banks, by the government, by Wall Street, but no one's paying attention. Why? Because our human nature, our psychology, like doctors like Dr. Benjamin Hardy and other thought leaders research how you can become your future self. How do you become your future self now? Most people think in hours, minutes, days, weeks.
Hmm.
They're not thinking in decades and centuries.
Hmm.
They're not thinking about long-term things. And that's how we're programmed. So all of the financial system is made to give us all the comfort, all the need, all the things we want, and all the marketing, all the engineering of our phones, all of the stuff is engineered to keep us trapped in the system. So the only way to break free from the system is to think for yourself. The problem being, most people don't understand that there's a problem. And if you don't understand there's a problem, would you give a two bleeps about a solution? So until you get to the point like you or I did, where like
Right.
you saw it growing up, I saw the stress. Like I had a rule around entrepreneurship that I would never, ever, ever do it because I saw my mom and dad argue. My dad was a water well driller over people not paying for the work that was already delivered.
Right.
And so I thought that looks stressful. My parents are fighting. We don't ever fight. I don't ever want to do that.
Hmm.
And that literally was my rule till I was 46. And like, I got to let this go. Like, they got divorced anyhow, eventually. Right. Like, that wasn't just about that.
Right.
But I just had this rule that wasn't even true and it wasn't serving me or anybody else.
Yeah,
So
I
thinking.
guess until you have that problem or that pain in your life, you just feel like everything's going good. You don't need to make a change, anything of that nature. Just stay focused on what you're working on, and all of a sudden, just time goes by so fast, though, and then get to a point where maybe something does happen that's out of our control, or something like COVID happens and it closes down the economy and you can no longer work, or like in '08 when we had the big reset, the Great Depression, and it's out of your control and you're getting ready to retire and that 401k just drops. And then all of a sudden, oh man, I should have maybe done things a little bit differently. And so it's one of those things where when we talk with clients, this, Jason, like we love working with younger people. Why? Because maybe they have that open mind, but they also have a lot of time left, where somebody that's closer to retirement, in retirement, or beyond, what can they do? Now, there's still a lot that we can do with that person, but the younger person is so much easier because they have that trajectory.
1,000,000%. And it's again, it goes back to how we've actually evolved as thinkers. Like someone that's young, they're not worried about the stuff that the people that I am talking to. Like I've had 3,000 plus calls. Like that's the biggest blessing so far is I've got to see a really big cross section of who we serve. And a lot of the time, the people that I'm serving are in their 50s or 60s or 70s. Why? Because they had to fall down enough and have enough people take advantage of them and have money not work out enough times. So they hit the bottom like I did in Mahwah, New Jersey at that mastermind and was like, I got to do something different. This is painful. I don't like this. I'm a grown ass man crying in a room full of people that I'm supposed to be leading. What the hell? And they start moving away from that. Like we'll do more to move away from things we don't like than we will to move towards things that'll be good for us.
Mhm.
And so like that's our challenge all the time. Well, if this is so good to be true, why are you guys doing all of these, all the webinars we do, all the podcasts we do? And like we do all that stuff because it's an investment of our energy to educate everyone.
Mhm.
Now, we hope there's a return and we go and we inspire people and we help them solve their problems. We're not completely doing it out of the goodness of our hearts. We're looking to help more people because it helps us help more people by helping more people. Things have to be in motion. It has to be kind of that everyone thrives community, which is like if you think, I know we're getting towards the end, but think about this. When you ask me, how did I get here? I partnered with my friend. He was my GA. He's an amazing man. I would love to still be working and partners, but he focused on everything because he's, managing $500 million, managing 40 offices, travels a lot now. He's at a different point in his career. He's been doing this for 25 years.
Right.
He does tax planning for the uber wealthy. He has 8 policies himself, or maybe more now. I don't know. It's been a couple of years since we discussed policies, but he was there like as a advisor. Like he actually started One America's IBC program with 2 other people, back in, I think he told me 2008.
Yeah. Amazing.
And so like he's someone that's been around this forever and he started my journey. And like I'm hoping to be a credit to his legacy. But when I was working with him, I was like, hey Jason, go learn annuities. I know you need to start making money. Like you can't just do this because you're trying to help. If you're not talking to people, if you're not building the business, then you have to go get side hustles to even keep food on the table, keep paying the mortgage, right? Like my retirement that I took out, the 401k, I basically used to make that gap. And so I just picked up the phone one day. I called Brent. He picked up his phone like he does, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Someone running the company picked up the phone, had a 45-minute conversation with him. And by the end, because of how I made it about what I wanted for the journey. He's like, you're right, Jason. I think we would be good partners. But, I know you want to think about it. I'm going to go fly. I'm going to speak in Indianapolis. I'm going to speak here. I'm going to speak there. I'll be back at the end of July. Give me a call. If you want to partner, we'll do it. I called him back. I drove over, met him and Hannah. And then 2 weeks later, Shauna reached out to me. Hey, we need someone to help with the overload of calls. Will you help? I plugged in. I had never even talked to Chris. I had never talked to you. I'd only talked to Shauna, Brett, and Hannah. And all of a sudden, like, I believe God has a much bigger plan for all of us. And now, like you said, I'm showing up. I've got a mission that I'm looking to serve with founding fathers. Like, that's to inspire, educate, prepare 10 million fathers and their families to avoid financial slavery, to live their legacy, and to make a positive impact. But I'm not looking to do it alone. Like, I'm looking to do it with every one of my peers, all my clients that I'm helping. Like, I tell fathers all the time. I called out one of the guys who started 3 policies with us. I was like, bro, it's awesome. You got 3 policies, but how many of your friends have called me, the fathers that you know, that are struggling exactly the way you were when you called me?
Mhm.
Like, when are you going to bring them to the party? When are you going to invite them to the bus? That's not for me to go and do more. It's for us to spread the message. So I think back to your point of how do you go from being a salesperson to being someone that's mission driven? It's a completely different thought process and it brings you completely different new aspects of your resourcefulness to get there.
Yeah, I love that you made the transition from, purely mindset and motivation, that coaching world over to the financial education space, with infinite banking. And now, when was that you spoke with Brent first when you decided to come on board with Money Multiplier?
It was let me see, I started my company it was June of 2022. It was not that long ago.
Okay. And then when did you launch Founding Fathers? Just this last year?
23. It's actually named by one of my best clients. Like I was like, bro, he's way better than words than I am. He's kind of like a Jonah do
Uh-huh.
or Jeremiah do. I was
Sure.
like, hey, you're super cool. I need a name. He's like Founding Fathers. I'm like, oh, that's solid. I like that. I like the alliteration. I like the fact that we're trying to build America back up from the bottom up, from a grassroots up. Like that means a lot to me. Let's do it. So
Yeah, no, I love it, man. It's really cool though to see that transition from the motivation to the financial, and now, you decided to kind of marry the two with Founding Fathers, and that's an amazing mission, and I love your tagline of wanting to help, fathers and keep out of financial slavery. It's really cool to see that. It's rare this day and age because you do get people that kind of get stuck with, one thing like the motivation, the mindset, the motivation, the mindset, which is so important. Don't get me wrong at all, but it's like at one point, like, okay, where do we take that motivation and mindset and apply that to something and actually put that into the
yes.
real world,
And
into
nothing
reality,
happens.
right?
Yeah, nothing happens. So if anyone listening, if you got a pen and paper, write this down. The quality of your life is going to be related to three things. It's going to be related to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself, number one, and then your ability to do two things. Like Steven just talked, it's not mindset. It is mindset, it is energy, but it's not.
Yeah.
So first is what questions are you asking yourself? And number two is your ability to take radical ownership, whether it's your health, your spirituality, your relationships, your money. You've got to own that. You can't outsource it. No one's going to care more about the thing than you. So take radical ownership and action. You got to be like Nike. You got to go do it. People ask me, "Hey, Sip, can I do an Ironman?" Sure. Like if you ask me, Steven, "Hey, can you guide me, coach me on Ironman?" I'm like, "I'd love to. I'd love to give you that gift of doing an Ironman." The first thing I'll tell you to do, pick a date.
Hmm.
Pick a date, sign up for a race, put skin in the game, pay $800 for a race. Sip, I don't have a bike. I don't like swimming. I'm afraid of sharks, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like all of those things will not work themselves out until you have a destination and you know where you're going.
Yep.
And it's the same with this. That's why I love this. I love this so much. I'm not selling anybody anything. I'm like, hey, you either believe or you don't. Either way, you're right. Henry Ford said it.
Yeah.
You either think you can, think you can't, either way. I
Yep.
say that at least 20 times a week
Yep.
on calls. I tell people no all the time. No, I'm not going to move you forward. No, it's not the right time for you because your patterns are so broken about paying yourself and taking care of yourself. Why would I help you get approved for something and you're going to fail and then you're going to think this is a failure? That's not helping anybody get any closer to their goals.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could sign up for the Iron Man, go do it, but if you haven't put in the time or have the mindset or the effort, I mean, you're gonna run the first leg of it and bail
No,
out,
you're going to die.
failure.
Nope, you're probably going to die. You might drown. It's a 2.4 mile swim. If that doesn't motivate your ass to get in the pool and swim and do a lot, get lessons. The last guy I helped do this, couldn't swim further, and I'm not joking, further than one length of the pool and halfway back before he would stand up in sheer panic.
Wow.
Terror on his face, like couldn't keep his face in the water. I was like, oh boy. Like I just had this guy sign up for an Ironman. Like, did I just kill my friend? Like literally thought that, Snaggy. I stood there for an
Yeah.
hour and 35 minutes with him. And then he went and found an old time coach, used to race, like professionally and coach professional guys. And he worked with them for like 4 or 5 months. And then he was able to compete that in 7 months. So when the whole point, so if you use everything we just said and wrap this up, put a bow on it, otherwise I'll just keep talking. We'll have 2 episodes, is when you decide that you want something, the first thing is the desire and the belief in yourself that you can get there. Then you got to pick an action, the next action. It doesn't have to be the perfect action, the next action, and get yourself towards the thing.
Hmm.
Once you make that decision, I thought about, you said you talked about cold plunges. We didn't go there. I did 66 days to prove that 66 days is how long it takes to build a habit or whatever. That's complete bullshit. I did it for 66 days. I went on vacation. I came back. I've been in the plunge twice in the last like 40 days. You know why? Because you have to decide that you want to do the thing and then you keep doing the thing. And then at some point, we're human, you're going to screw it up and then you're going to start and go back to it again. It's okay. Like Patty goes to me, she's like, you have to go back in the plunge. Like Linus went in the plunge this past week, and that's the first time I went in the plunge in like a month.
Yeah.
And then I had to act tough because his wife and my, all of his daughters were there and the neighbors. And I'm like, okay, this is not her. I'm just gonna stay in here for twice as long as Linus did. Yeah, look at me. I'm calm, cool. My body's burning, it hurts. And I was like, I want out. So anyhow, thank you for giving the space and the time. I love that what you were sharing with your story. I hope you got a lot out of this as far as pick a date, make a decision, give yourself permission to learn the thing you want to learn. And this is your life, man. We're not going to do it for you, but we will support the hell out of you. We will give you the team you need. We will give you the education you need. And we will do all that for free. And the only thing we're asking for you is to do the thing you said you're going to do and complete it. See it through for your whole life.
Yep, 100%, 100%. And we've created so many powerful resources to help along the journey. And like you said, with the cold plunge, like if you do it, then you get away from it. It's so hard to get back in. And so staying consistent with things. So we provide as many opportunities as possible for that. We do 6 or 7 webinars free every single week. I know you're doing webinars with founding fathers. So some different things you could check out if you're watching this on YouTube right now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel first off and turn the notifications on. We put up new content almost every day. We go live several times a week as well, so you can follow along that way. We just relaunched Money School TV. Here right now, we're relaunching it for March Money Madness, a membership-based thing that we launched back in when COVID first hit at the start of 2020. We're revamping that. It's $19 a month or $197 a year to be part of this Money School inner circle community that gives you access to a members only webinar a couple of them each week, specific content only for members. So check that out, moneyschool.tv. Um, Jason, how do people watch your founding fathers?
You can go to my website, jasonsipple.com, and sign up for the webinar for free there. You can go to my YouTube channel, Jason Sipple. I have a podcast called Wealthwise Banking that I'm putting out. So there's a lot of different ways to go find me. I'm part of, I'm on Ask Me Anything. We're going to be Brady Bunch style. We are here to serve you. We're here to go out and tell old stories to new people. So I'm super, super blessed to be able to be part of this team with Steven and with Chris and Brent and Hannah, BYOB, the Money Multiplier, even everywhere. So jasonsipple.com, Jason Sipple YouTube, Wealthwise Banking. Call me, email me, ask me for help. Go watch my stuff. It's very much around mindset. So if that's where you find yourself needing more help, go there. If you want spreadsheets and stuff, come to the wealth webinars and see Mr. Yenny, Mr. Spreadsheet Wizard, and we'll support wherever you're at. We'll help you get there. So
That's right. That's right. And I know you'll be putting content inside of Money School TV as well, which looking forward to that and seeing that. And then, of course, Facebook, if you guys want to be friends on
oh yeah,
Facebook,
we do have
reach
social
out.
media, don't we?
Yeah,
Facebook,
yeah, that's where I'm
Instagram,
pretty much in on
LinkedIn.
Facebook. I'm not really the whole Instagram and TikTok and all that, but I like Facebook. It's fun. So come find us on there and friend us, right? Friend me, and we'll have a conversation. But with that said, Jason, so last thing, the artwork behind you, I've seen that photo a million times on webinars with you. I just realized, is he giving the bird? Is he like F you, or what is that? Is that
No, no,
intentional or?
he's
I'm
got the
trying to.
force. He's stopping the thing from hitting him. That's
Okay,
just
well, I like to
go to
think that's a big FU to traditional banking and traditional education and traditional finance because that's what we do is show you the path to real success, what the wealthy do, and I
yeah.
don't know, it's incredibly
I believe
I
that
love
we're
it, man. It's really cool.
here's my crazy thought, right? I believe that we're Jedis. You're a freaking Jedi. You and your flamethrower, right? And your gun and all the stuff you have. We're all Jedis out there standing for good because there is evil thoughts in the world, like Carlos Lara started it. Behind that big founding fathers thing is Darth Vader. The evil empire is the banks, is Wall Street, is the government. It is the thing taking from all of us. To be light, to be good, you got to take ownership. Come be a Jedi with us if you like that analogy.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. This was great. Really good, Jason. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to do it again very soon and going a little bit deeper. We didn't really talk about infinite banking or self-directing or real estate investing or actual strategies. So there's a lot more to unpack and talk about. But I think this was really cool, and I hope it helped a lot of you guys listening and watching right now. So thanks for being here with us. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jason.
Thank
We'll
you, Stephen.
talk with you soon, and I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you on the next episode of Money School Podcast. See ya.